Beyond the Bell, Bloomberg's comprehensive cross-platform coverage of the U.S. market close starts right now.
And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick, Taylor Riggs, and Kailey Leinz counting you down to the closing bell, and here to help take us beyond that bell, Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec, bringing together our Bloomberg Television, radio, and YouTube audiences, parsing the crucial moments of the day. And Carol, I really appreciate you taking time from your bartending gig to break down what's happening today. But you got to talk. You were interviewing Cathie Wood earlier today.
I was.
And I mean, you had sort of your finger on the pulse of what was going on. What did she tell you about today's moves?
I'm not just making drinks with the star of Outlander, but I also did talk to Cathie Wood. Listen, she is staying true to her conviction. She still sees Bitcoin going very higher from here. What's interesting is, listen, she's got her plays. She sees it as a market capitulation that maybe is happening right now. And there's a lot of market watchers who are saying, well, maybe now we created some entry points for some of the different asset classes, Tim.
Yeah, they say timing is everything when it comes to markets, but I say timing is everything when it comes to that interview you had with Cathie Wood, because there's pretty much no better day to get to talk to her, because cryptocurrency, obviously a huge focus today. At one point, Bitcoin was down more than 30% before recovering quite a few of those gains. It was an absolutely wild day in the crypto markets, and also we saw quite the sell-off in equities before quite the bounce back a little later in the day.
Yeah, buying the dip seems to be a thing today, Tim. And I have to say that if there is an asset that can swing $10,000 in a single day, maybe it's not all too unrealistic to expect that maybe one day it could indeed reach $500,000, Taylor.
The best note I read from Cornerstone Macro saying that the direction of these spillovers does imply that a crypto crash may spell wider pain for the broader financial markets. That was the key question with financial markets in the red.
Well, you guys are talking about some of the buy the dip action going on in cryptos, but we're seeing buy the dip happening right here in equities. A huge sort of leg up here for the NASDAQ 100, which looks like it's going to finish in the green. The NASDAQ composite basically on the day right now. The S&P 500 looking like it's going to finish up down about 0.3%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average 33,900 right now on the screen, down about 0.5%. The Russell 2000, that's also your relative laggard here, down about 0.8%, Carol.
Well, pretty remarkable, Romaine. You talked about us finishing kind of at our highs of the session. This is after, Tim mentioned, the Fed minutes. We did see stocks move down after the Fed minutes were released. We saw yields moving up, maybe a little bit of a mini taper tantrum or so, as the Fed seems to be looking at asset prices and also maybe starting to think about, Taylor, talking about when they start to move back on all of this easy monetary policy.
Let's take a look at some of those asset prices. Caroline usually nails it every day with GMM. She's out today, so we're going to switch it up and do Crypto Go. That is the best thing about the terminal. There's a function literally for everything. In this case, all of the cryptos that you need to follow. The only thing I'll highlight for our radio audience, everything's in the red. That's all you need to know. The camera's going to follow me. Bear with me here. The only thing that I love on this screen as well, the 30-day range. In a matter of 2 days, everything has gone down to the very low end of that 30-day range. Unbelievable.
Yeah, amazing moves. And let's talk about some of the gainers today. Really, a lot of it was earnings related, and let's go through it. Target up about 6% here. Huge first quarter comp sales beat. Huge performance. First quarter sales soaring, you guys. Expecting a more profitable 2021. Romaine, I found that interesting that they were giving visibility about what they expected.
I'm actually surprised at how aggressive some of these guidance we're getting out of some of these retailers.
Yeah, exactly. And it tells us a lot. We'll see whether we continue to hear that kind of upbeat outlook. Got to mention Take-Two. We were breaking it down after the close yesterday, up 7%, up the most in 10 weeks. Again, an EPS sales beat. Also, Analog Devices, love to watch the chip sector. Earnings, EPS, and outlook beat. And then Marvel, not the Avengers, not the superheroes. We're talking about another semi-device company. Citi making it its top semi-pick, and that stock was up about 5% here today.
Yeah, I was watching crypto-related companies on the decliners today because anything that was crypto-adjacent fell, though recovered much later in the day. Let's start with MicroStrategy, finishing the day down by more than 6.6%. At one point in the day, it was down more than 15.5%. This is a business analytics company, but it has billions of dollars of Bitcoin on its balance sheet. Michael Saylor leading the company there. Coinbase finishing the day down close to 6%. At one point in the day, guys, a similar theme to what we saw with these other companies, down by nearly 13%. Tesla, this is an interesting one. 2021, finishing the day down 2.5% to its lowest levels since March 8th.
Those are some ugly numbers on Coinbase and particularly on Tesla at 536, given where it was. And Tesla's not just off today because of crypto.
Exactly. It's off because of concern over China. We got some data from China that there's slowing growth, and that's such an important market to the company, Carol.
Well, Kathy Wood not worried about that either. That's been a big bet for her as well. She's talking about how they're expanding into Europe as well. But we got to talk about crypto, guys. Let's talk about it a little bit more, because when we saw that plunge across the board in terms of all those cryptocurrencies, we were talking about wiping hundreds of billions of dollars off digital tokens overall. And Taylor, you look at the numbers. I mean, we were whipsawed today.
What is the path to Bitcoin to 500,000? Do we have it?
Well, how about
tell me really Carol? What is the path to get there?
I thought what was interesting is Kathy said specifically that we've got now about 19 million Bitcoins out there. We're going to top out at 21 million. Guys, it's basic supply and demand, economics 101 to some extent.
But there's a volatility issue here. And I mean, right after you had your interview with Kathy Wood, I interviewed the CEO of Binance US. This was a cryptocurrency platform that was actually down, or at least it was having trouble sort of facilitating some of these orders today. And I just wonder, sort of, for something that's supposed to be so valuable, how can it be so unstable?
Well, and why is it valuable, Romaine? My thing is still all about the use case, because of course, part of this volatility was inspired by the fact that the PBOC said, hey guys, you can't actually use this as a currency. But were you ever supposed to use it as a currency, or were we treating this as a store of value?
Kailey, you make a really good point. It's a question that we asked Chipotle's CEO just a few weeks ago. I mean, are you going to start accepting Bitcoin as payment for Chipotle?
Romaine and
he had
was
that
like,
reaction, Romaine. He pretty much laughed at me. He kind of laughed at me, but it's a real question when you have
a laughed at you. It's unstable. But I mean, if you stabilize it, then sure, you could spend on.
But what would Michael Saylor say about that? Until a few weeks ago, or until last week, Elon Musk accepting payment in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically for Tesla vehicles. And I think a day like today says, wait a second, if I'm a company that is considering accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment, do I really want to do that?
We've talked about crypto, we've talked about Tesla, and I think that sort of brings up the broader theme of where we are in terms of correlations. I was reading a note here, of course, Cornerstone Macro, saying that the hedging value has been deteriorating over time with Bitcoin. You wonder what it means for the correlations, Carol, of the broader markets. They're saying that the direction of the spillovers, given it's such a high beta asset, does mean some wider financial pain, and you wonder if that was indeed what we saw today, given is Tesla a crypto play or is Coinbase the crypto play?
I thought Tesla was a car company. Wait, I forgot.
Energy company.
Well, it's an energy makes batteries. And listen, their crypto holdings are a small part of what ultimately makes up that company. I think we have to think about is watch the financial establishment, how they continue to increasingly embrace cryptocurrencies. If they start to back off, then maybe we start to look at this in a different way.
Well, and I also want to talk about asset prices broadly, because we had both the ECB and the Fed today saying in their respective minutes and financial stability report, hey, things are looking frothy and exuberant. And I look at crypto and I say, well, yeah, they are.
Just real quickly here, we are getting some earnings here. Remember fundamentals, guys? I know, Taylor, you're into those types of things.
What's that?
Cisco Systems, easy for me to say here. Those 4Q numbers coming in. This is their outlook here. They're seeing revenue at 6 to 8%. That's the range given. The street was looking for an average of about 5.6% here. So coming in with a pretty decent guidance. But those 3Q numbers giving people a little bit of a pause here. I'm just going to give you a couple quick ones here. 3Q revenue, $12.8 billion. The street was looking for 12.6, and adjusted EPS coming in at 83 cents. The street was looking for 82 cents. So a beat here, but maybe not a big enough beat here. Maybe that's why you're seeing the shares down about 2% in post-market trading.
Yeah, 2 to 3% now, trying to find a range, of course, Carol, as we figure out where the market is going to go from here. I think Kailey brought up a good point with the other big story of the day is all about those Fed meeting minutes. And I thought we weren't even close to talking about tapering. And today you saw that push forward of some participants might start talking about tapering soon.
Are we whispering
Ellen
about
Zentner,
Exactly.
economist at Morgan Stanley, killing it.
It's like, hey, honey, I'm thinking about doing something, but I'm not quite there yet. I mean, this is kind of how the Fed does it.
But it is right after the interview that you had and then I had. Then Mike McKee interviewed Romaine Bostick. He kind of seemed to throw water on this idea that the Fed would move quicker than what everyone seems to think they would. There was a lot going on, by the way, at that Bloomberg Business Week conference. By the way, if you haven't checked it out, Carol, she makes a meme. What were you making? A Manhattan?
What was I making? An old fashioned. An old fashioned.
This is what she gets to to do all day. She gets to make drinks.
I work really
She gets
hard.
the fun stuff.
She gets all the plum aside.
I work really hard. No, but listen, I do wonder, Fed's Bostick, saying about being nimble. The Fed needs to be nimble. And I wonder if now this is, we have transitory and now we have to be nimble, whether we're going to start seeing kind of these different words, Tim.
Yeah, and the important thing to keep in mind is that the minutes were from a meeting before we got that jobs report just a couple of weeks ago that really concerned a lot of people about the pace of job growth and also the inflation data that we got last week. So important to keep that in mind.
Yeah, we're starting to see downside surprises on the economic data, and the Citi U.S. Economic Surprise Index is about to flip back into negative territory. Our colleague Joe Reisenthal pointing that out in his Odd Lots column on the Bloomberg today. I'm sure he's going to talk about the and what'd you miss.
Who's that guy?
He's got his own crypto now. Does he even talk to us anymore? I'm just asking.
I think it went bust already, by the way.
All right, well, cheers. It's been quite a day.
This has been fun.
A dram of
What's in there?
coffee.
What's inside
no,
that
it's
cup?
coffee. It's a
Okay.
cappuccino
Sure.
for everyone.
Wink, wink.
Likely story.
All right, that's going to do it for our cross-platform coverage on Bloomberg Radio, Bloomberg TV, and YouTube. We'll be back again same time tomorrow.